Okay, thanks again for staying with us on the program this morning on ITV. Lovely Thursday morning, just in time now for a major talking point. In the build up to the 2023 election, a whole lot is coming on the front burner, but most topical, most intriguing and most interesting is the issue of insecurity. Earlier this week, we heard a story of an attack on the advanced party of President Muhammadu Buhari, who was planning to go to Katsina State for Salah. We understood some members of that advanced party were injured, and then we saw pictures online that reflected the level of attack. That's not all. I think it was Tuesday morning we heard of the bombing of Kuje prison by terrorists, and in the process, hardened criminals, commanders of Boko Haram who have been in incarceration, were released. Just yesterday, there was a new twist to it. I've not been able to verify that twist, that about $36,000 and about 82 million naira in cash were also carted away. What I was just someone trying to play pranks, or is it reality? We don't know yet, except the hierarchy of Nigeria Correctional Center. They come out to make a statement on that. A whole lot to talk about in that direction. I'd like to thank very especially our guest here, who is a distinguished legal practitioner, a notary public, and is also the state chairman, Nigerian Society of International Lawyers, Edo State chapter, as well as a human rights lawyer. I'd like to thank very especially Barrister Patrick Isekwene. Barrister Patrick, thank you for joining us on the show.
Good morning.
Okay.
We are the happy viewing.
Okay, let's get started. I recall that during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, insecurity was a major factor, in fact, leading to the postponement of the election. We hope that doesn't happen this time around. But what's your take on how this challenge of insecurity may likely affect the election against the background of what is already happening? I mean, just a few days ago, we heard of an INEC office that was allegedly attacked and razed down completely. What's your take?
Yeah, if I'm to reflect back, what you said, you remember during Goodluck Jonathan time, something Latin occurred.
Yeah.
And from my own experience, from what I've seen it so far, I don't think it will affect the election. Okay. Because we still remember vividly the area was a attack where you have a lot of that time point was Bonu Zafara. Yeah. The killing here and here, but at the end of the day, that's where we have the best results. You still remember? Yeah. It was very good, very enormous. So we thought initially the election would not hold. At the end of the day, they had the election. 99% of people voted for the result we had there. So I don't think it will affect the election. Because don't forget, all this is happening. Politicians have hand in it. Your time, the election is a project of the politician. They don't want to. It's their project. They don't want to stop the election. They will keep away. But aside that, they go with their problem. It will not be affected because it's the political class that are behind all this thing going around.
Okay, we are seeing a seeming upsurge in the insecurity challenge in the country. We can recall instances where, the insecurity has upped the ante. A situation wherein, there was a massacre there, and then we seen recently how some Catholic priests were abducted. Just yesterday or so, we heard that the last two that were abducted were released, rescued, not released, were rescued. Yeah, what do you make of these as a major challenge, particularly against the background we're going into an election year?
Well, ordinarily, these are signs that the election is not going to be easy in terms of security issues. But like I told you before, the election will go well because the people behind this issue of insecurity in the country are the politicians. You remember vividly during the time of Buhari first coming, his election. There were threats everywhere. We heard of Boko Haram, so many. that there was one a notorious statement that if I don't win this election, I'm not mentioning anybody, the baboon, everybody will soak with blood. So people were scared. A lot of people were scared about that kind of point. Just because this foreigner they imported into the country, which I thought they were handiwork of politicians. So what I'm trying to say is that let us not think about the issue of what is happening here and there. The election is not going to be affected because it is the political class. My friend, let me tell you, I have done a lot of research. My thesis was on terrorism, my master's. I know what it involved. What is happening now, it has gone beyond Nigeria. These are handiwork of terrorist group. And the terrorist group is not too well. Nobody can stop them. If the political class does not aid them, you have people like Al-Qaeda, Al-Shaddai. There are so many of them that they can. You remember September 11?
Yeah.
It's Al-Qaeda. These are people, they can stop it. They can go to anyone and take what they want. You think that the Kuje prison attack and here is a mere bandit? They are not. There's nobody they cannot, if they want to. They are all over the world. So those who patronize them, who use them to commit a lot of havoc. As far as concerned, this election, since the political class has interest, the election will not be affected. But after the election, or they don't get what they want, they are ready to cause a lot of problems in the country. All the people causing this problem, we cannot put our hand as we don't know them. The school agencies know them, the government know them. Even in terms of Goodluck Jonathan, when he started that time point, he said, the Boko Haram, some of them are even my government. They sponsor, don't have a choice. They force the government to do certain things. Government must bow to their wish because of their network. That's how it is. So we know the government know them. They're not spirits.
So when you say government must bow to their wish, but we don't see that happening in other climes. In civilized climes, we don't see that happening.
Yes. Yes. You see, as a result of intimidation, I know our government, what they are after is, Nigeria, by nature of our background, you can't compare Nigeria with America with single interests. That we are one. But Nigeria, we just came back to the 1940 amalgamation as one Nigeria. Our actions here is being driven by ethnicity. So it's not one. They don't do this anonymous. They do this in different groups. That's why such a fight here will not work. Because if certain group want to use them, they use them. You are aware for let me just digress. For the position of IPOB, you claim the terrorist group. One of those people said no, that position is very wrong. The president will do everything to revise it. That's the point. Because with times, these years now, they become very dangerous. Because since you track them, you call them terrorist group. What they do is to allow Al-Qaeda for them to raise money, what they need, $1 million, they will get it easily. Because these people, they go around the world, since they are finding the inside from Igbo background, they will go around, raise money, with other higher group like Al-Qaeda, they connect with them, they give them training, they back them. They are important what they do everywhere. That's your thing. So what I'm trying to say is that the bandits you are seeing now is highly sophisticated one. They're international terrorists. It's not just local. So you are also aware that even the issue of these children that were kidnapped at that point,
Chibok girl,
you are aware that they returned to the federal government and they also went away. We're not going to know them, but it's beyond they are scared. They are scared. Government know them. If they want to any negotiation, they are ready. But there are some conditions that we give to you that we say, oh, we cannot do that, we cannot do, let's take it away. Government know them. Some people forget that see them to the time where that's about 2 women just came up recently. Who's about a month, up to a month.
Yeah.
So that's it there. Nobody can stop them. So what I'm trying to say is that government have to play safe. Let manage the situation, let manage this. I read somewhere where they said that there's a camp now being military town where you train military by these computer giants. Computer Microsoft the brigades. Yeah. They just named by what someone is sponsoring there. It has a military, where they train all these terrorists. So what I'm trying to say is that they don't grow back, they are connected, that government know them. Government negotiate with them to get what they want. See, they want to get it, but government knows. Let's stop deceiving, they know. So this issue will continue on and on. But if government having threat want to show political will to stop this thing, they know what to do. Government knows that they know what to do. But probably they are scared, they are being intimidated, they don't want to go more than that.
If you just join us, the program is this morning on ITV, and we're x-raying the insecurity challenges, interfacing it with the build-up to the 2023 election. That's 1 year everyone is looking forward to, against the background of some of the current challenges that we have. The feeling is that, well, maybe when there is a change of guard, some of the things that we're seeing today could be a thing of the past, but only time will tell. At the moment, these challenges are here with us. Let me come back to our guest here, Mr. Patrick Isekwune. You said terrorists are well connected and networked. As seemingly sophisticated as they are, there's also a feeling that if there is that political will to checkmate these guys, we probably will make a headway, even though we don't succeed in completely eradicating them, but we'll decimate them to that point where they become so insignificant and their impact becomes very minimal. But that is not the case. Every now and then, you see the actions and activities being carried out by them, which tends to show that there is this growing confidence, this boldness to do more harm, to be more audacious in their activities, like we saw the bombing of Kuje prison. And we even heard that the authorities of the prison, they were also alerted that there could be a possible breach. But unfortunately, nothing seems to have been done to avoid that. And now it is done. They are counting losses, they are counting numbers, and we're probably crying over spilled milk. I'd like to get your take along those lines.
Yes, my brother, you see, when you try to solve a problem, you try severally, you're still having results. It means you have a fundamental problem. I think by virtue of Section 14, if there's anything that government wants to do, any responsible government, by virtue of Section 14 of our Constitution, made it clear that the primary duty of the government is the security and the welfare of the people. There's no government that wants to do one or two things. But the issue is that, what I told you, is beyond the government, because it depends on their relationship with them. Now, what occurred? I say it has occurred before. Remember before the kidnapping of the Chibok girl. Remember vividly that the authorities they were aware that the Minister of Education at that time point could not allow them to even issue a WAEC. Said they should a lot of things that they should not be involved in WAEC. You remember when I think Wike was the Minister of Education. That time point. Yeah. They were alerted. They are aware. They told them, but they disregarded it. They are already aware. Just like the issue of the Kuje prison. They already are aware. Still, it's because it's beyond this people. They are highly connected, and I told you they are very powerful. They will tell you we are coming, not be saved by rumor. So at the end of the day, they will see going to action, and nothing will happen. So it depends on the relationship with government with them. That is what is happening here. It depends on the government contract with that terrorist group. Actually, the truth of the matter. I told you before, we know government know them, and they know how to get them. So, but the only way we can manage them is to a kind of an agreement in a way, negotiation for you to have peace. Because government know them, but government cannot do it by force. Because the outcome will be disastrous.
When you say government cannot do it by force,
yes.
Isn't that trying to massage their ego and give them more relevance and prominence in dealing with the issues?
Yes, that will give them. Because you see, do you know what average terrorists? Do you know what makes them look big? What makes them big is to strike any particular area that will give them popularity. They want to make sure, they take responsibility. That's why they take responsibility. They don't hide it. What makes them, you joined the United Nations building. We did the responsibility. We have done that. We are great. They want to hear that news. Yes, we did it. It's where they will have news. Where they will have names, people will praise them. That is what they yearn for. And at the end of the day, being arrested by America, they pray to America to arrest them. Because at the American, when America arrests them, they give them the best food, the best shelter. They don't have a problem. They yet to be arrested by America, so they can be heard. So group are just bombarded now. And this. And they call them, it's like a general in the army. They call them hero. Those terrorist group. Those other people, they hate them, other group. If I do that, everyone want to be like Al-Qaeda now. Once they want to know, they will say, in this Benin, where can we hit that week that can go into news? Where is the news? They will look for it and hit that place and go into news. The responsibility.
Okay, when you see some of these things happening, isn't that reflective of a defective information gathering or intelligence gathering structure, architecture, security-wise? Yes,
I agree with you. Because you have an architecture in the institution in the country, you have different SSS, you have police, you have different, all of them. You see, but the SSS are supposed to avert all these things. Because all this information goes to them. They give them. But I told you the hands are tied. The hands are tied because of the superiority of these people. You see, there's many bombardments have taken place that even though the government foiled, not only in Nigeria, in other countries, they had their agents everywhere. Even in National Assembly, even in other places. Remember that at a point when the Boko Haram were about to have negotiation, when Glo was trying to say, let us negotiate with these people. Yes, we are tired. Let's negotiate with them. They mentioned this in Nigeria, who can represent them? Which I'm not like to mention. So what I'm trying to say is that
are you saying those names are their members? Or they are just people they have regards for by virtue of their authority, their position, all of that?
Not just authority. I think not expressly, by implied, by conduct, they have relationship. That's somebody they feel they can protect their interests. At least that's somebody that has sympathy for them that they work with. They know them. For them to mention you. So please, Sonny Duke, we are nominating him to know them. So it might not be a stranger. It might not be a member, but there's affiliation in one way or the other. If you tell ourselves the truth. So the issue of security situation is that I think it's very, very appalling. It's very, very appalling the way things are going. Nobody's longer safe. It's a high time for the government to say, oh, let me have a political will. But it will be difficult because you don't know the relation, you don't know the contract between them and the government involved. They will not tell us. They will not tell us. That's the truth of the matter. What has government not done? I remember vividly when, I think it was about 2 years ago, almost 2 years now, when our president, over that warship, he paid without approval of National Assembly, sent the money today to America. I think he's trying to arrive in about, they say about 5 years time or so to review that. I don't know what they call it. So what I'm trying to say is that this crisis, if they want to, the government wants to, they can, but it depends on the contract with these people, with the social terrorist group. That's just the truth of the matter. It's like the court issue, court war. You hear today, you hear killing here, you hear killing here. Not that they don't know them. But this boy, you see, all those courts will do, they have key men too in government. That is why they're very difficult. They have key men in government everywhere. That's just the truth of the matter.
Okay, now latest development on the Kuje prison attack. I mean, if you look at the Punch of today, it gives you something quite striking there. Part of the things I guess as we're talking about in the last couple of minutes. Kuje invasion. ISWAP claims responsibility. Freeze Kaduna train attack masterminds. This is the first time I'm actually hearing that the masterminds of the Kaduna train attack, they've been apprehended. And so, with this latest development, it gives you an insight into why that attack was carried out by the terrorist. And now, if the terrorists can actually access Abuja, access Kuje prison, though violently, it speaks volume. And I know that the Niger State governor has been crying and shouting, Nasarawa State governor crying and shouting that these guys are just few kilometers away from the seat of power, and there is need to urgently deal decisively with them to stop their movement, expansion, increase towards the seat of power. But this is just one attack too close. Kuje is in Abuja. Abuja is the seat of power when it comes to where decisions are being taken, policies are being initiated as far as the Federal Republic of Nigeria is concerned. And for this accident, for this incident to have taken place in such a very, very sensitive area, it speaks volume. So what do you make of the latest development? ISWAP claiming responsibility.
Yes, I said it earlier, that they want a special place, they will let attack and kill it. They will tell you, not they did it, not by any, they will tell you, we did it. So the issue is that ISWAP is not to waste international terrorist group. It's not local. It's international terrorist group. They can hit anywhere, and they've told you they've taken responsibility for what they did, and they've done that, so that all over the world they will be heard. That's the truth of the matter, because every terrorist group want to be like Al-Qaeda. They aspire to be like Al-Qaeda group, which is the highest in the world as of today. That's the truth of the matter. So they can take any news because, but our problem is this: in fighting terrorism, that's why they continue succeeding. In fighting terrorism, is a difficult one in the sense that, like I told you, they have agents everywhere. You see, you don't trust anybody when you want to fight it. Because you don't fight them, they are everywhere, even the military, even the government, everywhere. So you see, you don't, one thing is that you don't trust anybody fighting terrorism. It will fail. Now let me give an instance. That is also a very difficult one. You remember when September 11 attack, after they say Sakadai, yes, they did that, took responsibility. Now America was worried. They said it's headed by Osama bin Laden, who is the leader of Al-Qaeda at that point. What they did was that they started all over trying to see what they can do. They went to Iraq, here and here, tried to try how they can track Osama bin Laden. You are aware that they started spending money. They started spending money. They spent millions of dollars to look for state. When I say state under international law, it means a country. That was the state. To see how they can help them. They were, you know, give them money, millions of dollars. They're unknowingly to them. Issue of trust. Listen to me. Unknowingly that even if neighbor that want to Iraq or that want to help, they were giving them millions of dollars. At the end of the day, to the surprise of America, do you know when he was killed at
Pakistan?
Pakistan, yeah. That place was killed. Do you know what they did to Pakistan government, America, to help them track this man down? As they were giving the money to the Americans, were giving to them, they were using the money to finance Osama bin Laden and his group. It was done in military. It was in military base, underground. That's where they kill him. Okay. And they said, "God, you are giving money. We promise to help you." On knowing that they're just deceiving you. Yeah. They use the money to empower.
Yes. Yeah.
And just go on. Empower Osama bin Laden, and it's true. And then the Americans were disappointed. That will tell you that you can't trust people.
Okay, let's just look at what is what is you know, more or less like an update on the Kuje prison attack, which seems to be a burning issue in the country right now. From some of the stories online, you heard that we have that countless number of suspected Boko Haram commanders and men were among the 416 inmates that escaped from the Kuje Correctional Center in Abuja following the Tuesday night attack. That's what is very prevalent or common to most of the national dailies. You can check out the Punch as well. You'll find that story there telling you about the number of people who were freed from that attack. Majority of them, a reasonable number of them, are members of Boko Haram. We're told that during the attack, which began at about 10:22 p.m., the terrorists released 600 inmates, including 15 deadly Boko Haram commanders who masterminded the March 28 attack on the Kaduna-Abuja train at Katari, Kaduna, in which 8 persons were killed and over 68 passengers kidnapped. Now, when you have a prison that harbors such high-profile criminals, yes, as it were, yes, I mean, what should you expect in terms of security of such a property? What should you expect? I mean, you are a specialist in terrorism.
Yes, I think I was expected a special security force, both in terms of material, building, everything there. You see, it had to be different from that of prison in other states, because it's where you have a deadly criminal. Not even when you have the terrorists there, criminal. You have gotten a kind of special built prison in terms of building, manpower. They have to have a special squad, and with other security gazette to monitor the prison. But this one is lacking. It's not like any other prison that we want to have in Nigeria. So I believe the public government might address this issue anywhere from that, because I learned that last time they said they want to build 3,500 prisons. Federal government proposed. So not by having just prison, have a quality one, special prison where you can put in high-profile criminals. Okay. Not just the general prison. Okay. Because it will continue happening. It will continue happening.
Okay. Well, from what the spokesperson of the Nigerian Correctional Service said, Umar Abubakar, he confirmed that an official of NSCDC, Inspector Ilyasu Ibrahim, and 3 terrorists and 4 inmates died in the incident which happened on Tuesday night. The Kuje attack came barely hours after a convoy of the advance party of Mr. President to Katsina State were also attacked, and thank God nothing happened in terms of casualty. But for the security convoy of Mr. President, even though it was the advance party to be attacked, it goes to show you how bold and deadly these guys are, as it were. Yes. But there's a feeling that part of the problem that has made this issue to linger on is that there seems to be a buy-in from the locals, a buy-in from the communities where they exist. And then you also have the challenge of ungoverned spaces amongst all of these places that we're talking about. What do you make of this as a challenge in fighting?
Yes, government should try to do their best whenever the president is traveling, because with way things are happening, not that they cannot avert it too, because these people, they use different techniques, different way to camouflage. You are aware now. I just read now that where the bandit break in now, they left Catholic. This they just entered. They left with Reverend Mother's, Reverend Sister's gown, not Reverend Sister's gown. So many dozens.
Close.
Yeah, close. They will wait. You will not know. Somebody will come here with all already detonated with all things to blow himself. You won't know. Without that it's a reverend sister. Unknowing that is a terrorist, is a suicide bomber. That was said. You just try to do your best, but you cannot overcome them because they disguise so much. They disguise so many ways. You wouldn't know. They can even use. They use children. Because some children are ready to do certain things for them, so that they use female. If you know that the man is more, like this what do you call him? This is that's his name, Mr. But that guy, former minister for in Nigerian Shagari time. It's that almost
Abdul Muttalib.
Yeah. It's that was the he was caught at the airport. And look at his age. These are those people they've conscientized him, and he's ready to do anything for them. If not because the security able one way they able to get him, it would have been a story.
Yeah, you always hear America say you don't negotiate with terrorists. So what's your solution? What's your perspective on what can?
Yes, I agree with America totally. But I told you, like I said earlier, it's based on their foundation. America is a one country, but here in our country, it's based on ethnicity. You know, this terrorist group, the sponsor government too, the joint government too. So that government coming to power, it will dance to their tune. It's not going to do it as if it's a war, because they sponsor. It's their sponsor to fight them. No way. Even though they want to fight to the president, sometimes they try to meet them up, to liaise with them, to back them, to support their presidency. Once they come in, they adapt to protect them. That's why you see the fights, it cannot be total. In America, you can say, oh, you don't negotiate with terrorists, but I want to hear it's subjective. I told you that. That's why I said here, in fighting terrorism, you don't trust anybody. Not even the president, any president of any country. That president might be part of that terrorist group. Has affiliated to them. You don't know. That's just the truth of the matter. That's why they operate everywhere. When Mama Gaddafi was alive, you still remember, he was a terrorist. He was one of the state terrorists. And happening in different country. Even the Baba in Abuja one time was linked to it. So many countries. There's some state that there's some presidents that are terrorists. They supposed to state terrorism. I just the truth of the matter. So you don't trust anybody.
Okay. Let's just take a look at some of the names of high-profile individuals that were also in that prison as at the time of the attack. You have the likes of the former commander of the intelligence response team, talking about ACP Abakari, is in that prison. And then, of course, you have two former state governors, the governors of Plateau State and Taraba State, Joshua Daraye and Jolly Inyame. Of course, you recall they've been pardoned by the Council of State, but because the approval, there's a delay, it has not been released, so they are still there, they are still being kept there. So, which means a lot of high-profile personalities in that prison, and we don't know if they are still there on account of the attack. Well, this is coming from the Punch newspaper. You check that story out there. Interestingly, you have this writer that says over 12 attacks and jailbreaks have occurred in the last 5 years, in which no fewer than 3,500 inmates and hardened criminals have escaped. And so it's important that you also know that there are some security precautions that you need to take, particularly against the background of what has happened. This is a prison that had, has so many high-profile personalities being kept there, and to think that it was just overrun so easily with terrorists in a place that we know we have Air Force, we have Navy, not near, maybe Navy, and then you have the Army. I'm sure there is a battalion or so in Abuja. So because it becomes very, very interesting when you look at this whole issue holistically against the background of all of these flanks of what could have been done to avert it or to confront it.
I agree with you. I told you this terrorism, all these terrorists, in fighting terrorism, I said you can't trust everybody. There, they have an agent to help them follow the situation. That's how they operate. They have agents everywhere. They were able to make their way in different places. For such a road that well falsified, able to break through, that will tell you there's more to it than what you see. Actually, the truth of the matter. There's no way they cannot break in. They can no way, nobody cannot, because they have a lot of informants. Those that work hand with them, you don't even know they're part of the terrorist group. I know they are so rich, they have money that they can influence any of the security agents within the prison there. They will work for them. That's the truth of the matter. That's why they go with $1 billion. They have money to use. Nobody cannot influence. Like I told you, within the military, name it anywhere, they have their men all over. Within governments. So at the end of the day, they have their way. So this World Trade Center was attacked. It was not well equipped. That's a World Trade Center. Some of the were able to hit it down. That's why because they are also well trained. They are well trained and well equipped. They have all it takes. There's no way they cannot attack if they want to. If they want to hit us, they will hit us. It's not just joke. Well, I'm not joking.
Okay, we also I mean, that was just barely a few hours after the attack on the president's convoy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Mr. President was not on that convoy. It was his advance party that was attacked. We've had all of these conversations around this whole issue about the boldness and the audacity with which these guys operate. And I was asking you a question about the seeming buy-ins by the locals. When we talk about insecurity is local, you want to say something about that? Yeah,
that I said. I told you. I said the local, they use them. I said they are rich, they have money. They infiltrate them easily. So they also, it's like a own video. It's a drama, different stages. They know this. Yes, we settle this role. They do this for us. They do this for us. That's where they come into play. They fall to their easily because of their emotional sweats. Yeah, they work on everybody, and once they go on, they succeed. Next thing they do, they take responsibility.
Okay, this is TMI, beautiful Thursday morning, x-raying some of recent security breaches and hoping and praying that we can actually put the right mechanism in place to ensure that there is a strong deterrence and it's reduced drastically to the barest minimum, so we can live a peaceable and a quiet life. There are a whole lot of issues that are coming forth. Yes, there are speculations or allegations that there could be compromise that may have led to why this incident happened, and the reasons are not far-fetched. If you look at the Punch today, you look at some of the security structures that are within that vicinity, all right? Why there seems to be a feeling that there could may have been a compromise. Take, for example, the facility in question is being guarded by a combined team of 176 special forces, all right? And then you also have Guards Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Police Mobile Squadron 21, DSS, and the Armed Squad of the Nigerian Correctional Service, numbering about 100. So if you have about 100 of that, add it to the Special Forces, you're talking about 276. And then if you add that to the 21, you're having almost about 300 various security groups put in place to guard this facility. And then we also have that they have about 4 APC, not All Progressive Congress, APC armored personnel carriers and closed circuit TV cameras, which cover the perimeter fence. There was also 3 security checkpoints before the facility. Beside these security layers, the Nigerian Air Force Base, the Nigerian Immigration Service, NSCDC headquarters are just a few kilometers from the prison. If these are not enough to deter or thwart the attack, there is a police counter-terrorism unit at Zuba and a special force unit in Gwagwalada. How come all these security structures failed to thwart the assault? An impeccable security source observed that the standard security protocol dictates that the vicious commanders should not be kept together in a detention facility. So you understand why all of these issues are coming up, because we raised this question a while ago, that how come it was so easy for such a high profile facility to be overrun by terrorists?
Yes.
How come?
How come?
That's the layers of security, the army, the police, DS, and these are special forces trained. I'd like to get your comment on this plank. Yeah,
it's called activities of the insiders. Like I told you, they work on everybody. They have an insider, they have agents everywhere. That's how they operate before the attack. That was what was very easy for them. Those who pretended to be working for security, some of them they are sellouts. They are sellouts. They have information about how they will operate. Actually, the truth of the matter. You know something? Because you see, when you say a building that is defective, we should know too, as you can see. You don't need the social engineer to tell you that this building can fall anywhere from now, or it's time to call pedestrian. From what you are seeing now, from all those men security in there, these people came, they did what they did, they succeeded. It's not just my hand. They are, that's how they work, the terrorist group. They have an insider. They have their agent everywhere. They have agent everywhere. That's why they're able to do it together easily. And remember, this attack must have lasted for at least not less than 1 hour or 30 minutes. Where were the security forces? We're just sleeping. They were overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed. So some of them could not do their work there because they were kind of sellouts. That's the truth of the matter. So government should investigate the matter very well.
Well, we hope that that will be done, but there's also a feeling that when it comes to protocol, particularly for commanders who are so deadly, you don't lump everybody together in one place, because we're told from what's available in the media space that when these guys came, they went straight to a section of the facility where all these commanders of Boko Haram who were involved in the Kaduna train attack were kept. And we also have 2, from what is available in the media space, that they had requested for about 15 of these commanders to be released, and the federal government declined. And so with that decline, they came by themselves to take them by force. And they were all kept in one section, from what the Punch is saying. And in the attack, all these guys were released violently. It's quite unfortunate. But we hope that the authorities in charge will look at this issue dispassionately. And if there are people who have been fingered for compromising the system to make this so easy for these guys, they should be brought to justice. What's your final take, Barrister Sekune?
Yeah, I think federal government should do the needful. This is from what happened, take a crew and do the needful. Put in their best. Like I told you, the issue of terrorism, nobody can stop it, but can only minimize it based on understanding between them and the government. So government should take a decisive step and learn from the Kuje breakout.
Okay, we thank you so much, Barrister Sekune, for coming. It's the TMI Thursday. we take a short break. Praise and Favor and I will be back here to talk more on the show. We've got breakfast spots coming up in the later part of the program. Please stay with us. Stay TMI Thursday.